For more than a decade, FTI has strived to become the leader in the aftermarket performance transmission and converter industry. We've joined forces with McLeod Driveline Components under the leadership of Top Fuel Funny Car pilot Paul Lee, and now have a larger distribution network, more resources, and more power. Come see us in the pits and ask how you can join the FTI family. It's not cheating, it is the competitive edge.
It's time for an inside look at the most powerful motorsport on the planet. WFO Radio NHRA Nitro. This is WFO Radio.
Hey everybody, WFO Radio is back. Amalie Oil NHRA Gatornationals winter views. That's right, our first winter views of the year. We are finally going again. We're going to speak with some actual race winners from a race that was unbelievable. It was sold out. It was a packed house, and it was a first-time win in his first race for Vance and Hines by Mr. Gaige Herrera. Number one qualifier, low of each round, speed record, final round win. We're going to speak with Gaige, and we're going to learn a little bit about Gaige. Gaige was out there last year, and, you know, Reinhart said it a bunch of times. They were kind of on an underpowered bike, and he was learning the ropes and learning the moves. And Andrew and Eddie, they got their hooks into this kid, man. They got their hooks into him, and he goes out there and gets the job done. So if you want to know Gaige, share the show. We're going to be speaking with him and learning all about it. Now, I want to tell you about the sponsors, the people who make it possible for me to do this show. Without them, like, I'm working in the lumberyard. I'm not doing this podcast live stream. I'm just not. And it's all because of Phillips Connect. Phillips-Connect.com, because of smart trailer technology and all those connected sensors. A lot of the race teams are using them. If you're in the transportation industry, reach out to me, Joe, at WFOradio.com, or them, and learn a little more about smart trailer technology. And Bernie Speed Shop. Josh Hart had this amazing fan fest down there at Bernie's, and now I know exactly what Bernie's is all about. Over 100,000 square feet of muscle cars, of classic cars. They got a chassis shop. They got an engine shop. They do it all at Bernie's.com. BURNYZZ.com. Foggett, the folks at Foggett. Where's my can of Foggett? It's right here, and it is super cool. If you have a high-performance racing engine, then you should be using this after every run when you put it away for the night, because microscopic rust and corrosion occur as water and condensation occur, especially when you put your bracket engine away in the trailer at the end of the night. Foggett solves all of those problems, and it helps protect the surface of your engine, which you've spent a lot of money on. So go to FOGGIT.com to find out more. You already heard a little bit about FTI Performance Transmissions and Torque Converters. They were out at the race, had that big Pro Mod Showdown going on. It was great stuff. And Total Seal Piston Rings, the leader in ring seal technology, TotalSeal.com. We got new episodes of the Hidden Horsepower podcast that I host coming up all the time. We just had one with Pat Musey. Did you hear Pat? He walked into the booth. He didn't know we were going. It's great stuff. Check them all out. Later on in the show, I'll tell you about Marvin Rodak. I'll tell you about Frank Hawley. I'll tell you about samtech.edu, the School of Automotive Machinists and Technology. But right now, it's time to go to our first ever interview with a first-time winner for Vance and Hines, Mr. Gaige Herrera. Gaige, welcome to WFO Radio. First time. Congratulations.
Hey, Joe. How's it going? Thanks for having me on the show.
It's going good for me, but it's going great for you. Here we are. It's been a couple of days. Has it sunk in that you won your first race with Vance and Hines?
I would say after yesterday, it really sunk in. After the whole Gainesville, deal Sunday and all that, even flying home Monday morning, it really didn't sink in until probably midday yesterday at what really was accomplished in a short period of my new venture.
So I would like to spend a little time getting to know you, Gaige, and I will apologize. Like, it would have been so much better if I had you on the show last year, right? And, before the win. But you win your way on WFO, and that's part of our deal. That's how we know who our guests are going to be. The people who win, we try to have them all on. It's part of winning. You get the check. You get the Wally. And then a little further down, you get to be on WFO. I'm not comparing us to those kind of things. But you were out for many races last year. Was it all the races last year? Reinhart said you were on an underpowered bike deliberately to learn the riding technique for a pro stock motorcycle. I want to know about that, but let's start at the beginning. How did you get into drag racing? Who is responsible for this?
The person responsible is my great grandfather. Actually, I'm the fourth generation as far as drag racing. He started off in the Anglas and Austins, back at the Irwindale days. Going to Hawaii, racing over there. He had one of the very first flip body Austins, and so that started there. And then I went to my grandfather and his brothers, which they did a lot of racing all over, like I said, in Hawaii and so. And then my father. He started off in 68 Camaro doing Outlaw 10.5 and then worked up to what is now evolved into Pro Street or a Pro Mod, which was Pro Street back in the day. Doing it was all on the West Coast. And then it's been a family thing for many, many years.
Not a lot of, I guess we're getting to that point, right? Fourth generation drag racers. So your dad was old school California, or your great grandfather was old school California, even going to Hawaii to drag race. So you guys are a California based family, or Hawaii based family that went to California?
We're a California based family out of La Mirada, California. So that's where I'm from. That's where I was born and raised. And then I moved out to Indiana about 6 years ago.
Okay. And your dad was into the Pro Street thing? Like, are we talking Pat Musey, yep. Tony Christian era?
Yep, exactly. Exactly that era.
Wow. Okay. So one thing I'm noticing that is one of these kids is not like the other. When did the motorcycle deal come in? Like everybody else was in cars and you are on a motorcycle. So did you just want to break away from everybody else, or was there a reason?
No, actually, my dad was the first one to venture off and start on motorcycles. I believe he started drag racing when I think it was before I was born, actually, because I got a picture when I was like maybe 2 years old sitting on the gas tank of his motorcycle at LACR. So he was the first one to venture off and start drag racing, motorcycles, and then it's been downhill from there. He's done it ever since then, and he was doing the car thing at the same time because my grandfather was kind of against the whole motorcycle thing, even though he put my father on the dirt bike at 3 years old, just like my dad did the same thing. So it's in our blood. So I don't know how he expected him not to be on a motorcycle.
Well, I am sure everyone who is into the bikes has a strong passion, a love for it, the freedom, the open air, the speed, all of these different things. I'm sure the acceleration because of the lightweight. It's amazing. I tell the audience all the time, I'm not really a motorcycle guy. Like when it's on the streets, don't get me wrong, I can appreciate them, the beauty and all of it, but I have come to love Pro Stock Motorcycle because of the people, and it's amazing, and drag racing. Have you ever drag raced a car at any point?
Yeah, let's see, the first car I drag raced, I used to race Super Comp. I raced a Super Comp dragster for a while. I did like the Spring Fling Big Bracket Nationals at Vegas. I never went out east and did it. I was still on the West Coast then, so I did at Vegas, and then I did NMCA at when they used to come out to Fontana. So I did that for a while, and then I raced Super Gas for a little while with Broguier's Dairy, Raymond Broguier's Super Gas Datsun. So I did that for a while, and then I ventured off and started driving my grandfather's A-Gas Camaro, which runs the Heritage Series, March Meet. So I did that for probably about 3 years. I got the car out here in Indiana with me now, but I'm just so busy. And my grandfather, it was more of a thing with me, my grandfather and my grandmother. It was bonding time for us to go racing. And they're actually moving out here soon. So we might start running the car again because this has been sitting ever since I've moved out here. So, yeah. So I've been in drag racing, cars, bikes, every little bit.
That's great, though. Like, you just got a whole bunch of fans, and I apologize for not knowing that stuff. But at the same time, I'm glad I was able to ask you in this moment. So you're a bracket racer, you're a .90 racer, and you're on a Pro Stock motorcycle, which is cool. It gives you, I think it gives people a reason to root for you. Like, all right, man, he's kind of repping that background a little bit. Running the Spring Fling means you're confident in your bracket race abilities, but Pro Stock Motorcycle is where you ended up. And let's talk about last year. I spoke with Malcolm Phillips. He told me that you guys have raced a lot. And I'm hoping that kid does real well as well. Like the fresh young faces coming up into the sport. That's so good. But where have you done the majority of your of your motorcycle racing? And where did you gain all this experience to become such a good rider?
I would say I gained most of my motorcycle experience. I did a lot of drag racing, motorcycle stuff on the West Coast. I won the 2014 ET finals at Bakersfield, so I did that. And then when I moved out here is when I really, well, let me backtrack a little bit. My heart's always been a heads-up racing, I should say. My dad raced Pro Street in AM8 days and used to travel to Indiana and Gainesville back like in the 2000s, late 1990s era. And so I've always been hooked on heads-up racing. I love that part. I've always followed it, very heavily. And so I started building my bike, which is a Pro Street nitrous bike, when I was a sophomore in high school. And I finished it probably 3 years after I graduated. And so I started running that in the West Coast. But there really was no heads-up stuff out there. So basically, I was just out basically just running myself, trying to better my times. And then was it 2000, let me see, 2016, me and my dad actually, I finished my bike and we traveled out to Indiana and I did a couple NHROs, the Pro Street stuff. And then the year after that, then I moved out here in 2018. So I went back, regrouped, and my dad got a job out here to run be a crew chief on a Pro Mod car, NHRA Pro Mod car for Harry Ruska. And so he was kind of the one that got us to move out here, I should say. So then I moved out here and then I started doing the XDA series with my bike and NHRO and the Man Cup series. And so I started doing that a lot and, running that pretty heavily. And then I really started pushing my own little business, side business, building motorcycles. I do exhaust pipes, custom wiring harnesses, build motors. So basically, that's what really pushed me into the whole, I would say, get more experience. I started doing a lot of different things, venturing out. And then, and then the XDA, I've done, I did that for a while. And, I still do it as much as I can. It's just so busy with the whole grudge and all that. So,
It's interesting though. Like now the Pro Mod connection is there. You're like .90, Big Money Bracket Racing, Gassers, Pro Mod, Pro Street. Like you are a hardcore 4th generation, dyed in the wool drag racing family. But this is a huge deal. You just won the Gatornationals. Like everybody's got to be freaking out. I hate to jump to the end of it, but is everybody freaking out at this accomplishment?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, everyone kept asking me, do you realize what you just did? And like I said, it didn't set really in until yesterday. I've grown up watching, NHRA and all that, and to do what I did, in such a short time, I mean, it's unbelievable, really. I mean, I'm on the best team out there, and so I don't expect anything less out of them. But for me to go out there and do that and be able to repeat what I did, lap after lap, that was a big accomplishment to me. And not only that, to win the Gatornationals, that's amazing.
What was the plan last year when you started to run and that motorcycle? And were you trying to get noticed? Were you eventually going to put a more powerful engine in your bike and you were going to try to compete as a privateer team? We know that those guys noticed you and they talked to you and it worked out great, but what was the initial plan?
The initial plan, I mean, actually me, Gary Stouffer, and my dad, we were at XDA. I was running Pro Street, Gary was running his bracket bike, and my dad was running his grudge bike. And we were just hanging out one night. I think it was Saturday night, and Gary goes, "Hey, have you ever thought about running pro stock?" I said, I thought about it. I used to have my license, and then I let it expire at the time. And he's like, "Well, I got a little motor. We could put auto trans in it, and if you can get your license in time, we can go out to the U.S. Nationals and you know, see if we can qualify or anything, just go out for the experience. And, you know, so I jumped right on that. And so we started putting that together. And so we made it out to the U.S. Nationals just to go have fun, you know, to be able to say I tried to run or I ran at the U.S. Nationals. I mean, that alone, to be able to say that would have been a big deal. And then, you know, we had a lot of fun. And then I started talking to a few of my sponsors that help out with my Pro Street bike, and they were all into it. So then after that pushed us to go to Reading. And then we started working on because at the time I had a 1655 motor, so that's what pushed us to start building the 1855 to try to be more competitive, or you know, have a better chance to qualify to race on Sunday. So it kind of just started out of, you know, an idea just to go have fun, to go experience the U.S. Nationals and to be out there. You know, I mean, turning one race deals turned into running the last 6 races. So it kind of just came out of nowhere. We didn't really have no intentions of it turning into what it did. And it's pretty cool how it ended up.
Tell me about the phone call you got from Andrew or Eddie, or how did that work? How did that happen? That they said, "Hey, man, forget all that, come ride with us."
Yeah. So it was like a week after the World Finals. I was driving to work and I got a text message from Andrew Hines to give him a call when I had a chance. So I called him on my way to work, and we talked for a little while, and he was just talking about, you know, asking what I had planned for the next season, or if I plan to do any pro stock stuff, because he knows, you know, I was on a limited budget, and I wasn't really sure what I had going on. I was trying to work some things out, but you know, it takes a lot of time and money and commitment to be able to do this deal. So he asked if I would be interested in riding for them, and I mean, I was speechless when he asked me. He's like, "You still there?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm just trying to comprehend what you just asked me." And I mean, it was a opportunity of a lifetime. You know, I mean, I still can't believe I get to run with Vance and Hines. It's especially with Andrew Hines and Eddie Krawick, it's a dream come true, because I grew up, you know, watching those guys race.
Let's talk about your round by round, right? You go out, you qualify number 1. We got to talk on the stage. I asked you flat out, "Can you win this race?" And you said, "Yeah, I think we can," but not cocky, not like, "Yeah, we got it." Like, you know, if I do my job, I think we can. The bike is fast. And that's pretty much what happened. But tell me about round 1, 670 with a 4, 201.52. You had already run the record run. Actually, I want to hear first about the record run. Like, that's crazy stuff. Like 203.49, 668. But you had run some nitrous stuff. Is that the quickest run you've ever made, or probably not, right? Those nitrous bikes are quick.
Yeah, my personal fastest, I've been 649 at 210 on a no bar nitrous Hayabusa. So, but I mean, it's fast on that, but you know, then on the Pro Stock deal, it feels just as fast, even though, I mean, it's a little bit slower, but it's not, you know, at the same time. You know, my bike, my nitrous bike that I hold the nitrous Hayabusa record on, that bike, you know, from the 330 on is one that's really getting it, where the Pro Stock bikes from the starting line to the 8th mile, they're really getting it. That's where they make up the difference. And so when I went to 668 at 203, I could definitely tell it was on a good pass, you know, because I had to make very little correction, and you could just feel the difference. Even though it was only a couple mile an hour from the pass before, you could tell that it was on a good pass. And I definitely didn't expect it to go 203. So when I got that time slip, I was really amazed.
Well, that thing looks incredible. We got a shot of the new Vance and Hines Hayabusa body next to the actual Suzuki. And we say it in Pro Stock all the time, right? Like, it's important for the car to look like the car, and the bike looks just like the bike.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was a really good, you know, move on Suzuki and Vance and Hines to get a bike that matches the production built bikes, you know, today. You know, I mean, like the TL body and the GSXR 1100. I mean, those bikes haven't been, you know, manufactured in many years. So I feel like, you know, that was a really good move as far as, you know, I would say upgrading Pro Stock to more modern.
Okay, so race day, you go out on the stage, you're doing all this stuff that you've never done before because you are number one qualifier. Any nerves? Any nerves, that kind of deal? Like, oh my gosh, man, I got a real chance to win the race. I'm on a real quick, fast bike. I'm running for Vance and Hines. Look at all these people, sold out crowd. You're running Ron. Ron has won rounds. He's beaten the Vance and Hines bike in the past. So how was it feeling? Like, what was your energy on Sunday morning?
I was definitely nervous. I mean, if you're not nervous on race day, there's something wrong. I mean, especially your first race, and everything was going really good. And but I was definitely nervous, especially seeing the crowd and everything. And the biggest thing to me was not to mess up on the starting line. Try to be consistent and hit my shift points and just focus on what I had to do. But I mean, I was definitely nervous going into the water box. That's when it all really sunk in. It was race day. It was time to do business and make it happen. And it came out good. I definitely had to, like, my big thing. When I go to the starting line, I kind of I'd say zone everything out, take deep breaths, try to calm myself, and go out there and do what I have to do.
Yeah, okay, but then second round you got to run Eddie. That's a different situation altogether. It's like, okay, I'm Vance and Hines. I set the record. I'm on this bike. These guys like me. It's like a video game. You got to prove yourself now against Eddie. That had to be just awesome.
Oh yeah, that was awesome. Getting to race Eddie, like I said, growing up watching him and Andrew, on the Harleys. I mean, so for me to be able to line up next to Eddie, I mean, that right there, I mean, that was awesome to me. But it was definitely a lot of weight on my shoulders, because he was having a few issues throughout the weekend, but they figured out the issue before Sunday. So I knew that bike could turn around any moment, and our bikes both could be number one players at any moment. So I definitely was worried, because he's a 4-time champ, and there's a reason for it. So it was definitely a lot of pressure.
In the semifinal, you're going up against this. First of all, this race was awesome because we've had this sea change. Like, Gianna Evaristo has been working so hard, and it's paying off. It's paying off. She's got Matt Smith training her up, and you beat Eddie, she beat Matt. Now you guys got to run each other. And that is the future of pro stock motorcycle. It's so exciting. And she's got Matt Smith, and she's learning. She's not a lifer on pro stock motorcycles by any means, but she's getting better and better, and was having her best day.
Yeah, I mean, Gianna was out there doing awesome. I got to test with her in Orlando, and seeing I've watched her over the years and seeing her progress. She's made very big strides, and so I was definitely nervous against her. She did good. She's been running good all weekend. And I knew she has a very competitive bike with, Matt Smith over there tuning it. And so I was definitely nervous against her. I actually made a little flaw during the run, and luckily it wasn't too bad to the point to where she got me, but I was definitely nervous, and it's awesome having her out there chase. It's I feel like it's what the class needs, what NHRA needs is a couple new faces to get more people out there watching. So to have the new people out there in the class, it's awesome, especially, basically what me and Chase made to semis, and Gianna. I think that was a very big deal.
Absolutely. And Angie Smith, who you ran in the final round, is a fan favorite as well. She's got all the Smith Racing V-twin stuff, so she's going to be fast. And here you go. You're setting up against Angie Smith. Tell me about getting ready for the final round. Like, oh my gosh, I got a chance to win the Gatornationals in my first race for these guys. Is it like, this is an exciting moment, I want to go get it? Is it like, oh, I don't want to blow it all at once? What is it?
It was an exciting moment, getting to race Angie. I mean, that's a big deal. She's on the top, one of the best buells out there, if not the best. And so I know they had a little bit of issues here and there throughout the weekend, but Matt Smith, you never know, he could turn that thing around at any moment. And so I was definitely worried. I didn't know how they were run. I mean, I knew we were running good, but it's racing. It's every pass is a gamble. You don't know what's going to happen. You could be out there having good runs and just have a mechanical failure or something, have something crazy happen. So, I mean, I wasn't, counting on nothing. I was definitely not counting on Angie. She's one heck of a good rider. And so I was definitely nervous in the final. There's a reason she finished number 3 in points. And So I was definitely worried, up against her in the final.
Amazing. But you won. You got the job done. You won the race. The win light came on. It took a while to sink in, but you go do that top end interview, crowd going wild. How did that moment feel? Like, I did it. It's over. I did it.
Yeah. I mean, it was, at that moment of time, it really didn't sink in at all. Even when they handed me the Wally and stuff, it felt like a dream. I mean, as soon as I crossed that finish line, I was so pumped. I did the fist pump, and I was basically screaming in my helmet because I won the Gatornationals and I won my first race. I went from just barely qualifying last year to getting my first round win and then winning the race, and it was there was a lot to take in, and it was I had so much joy. I couldn't let it out, because there was just so much. It was amazing. The whole experience of winning the Gatornationals and racing against those people. I mean, it was amazing.
And you get to be the most recent race winner for like 7 weeks, right? Like, we don't see you guys until when? Chicago? When? Like a long time.
Yeah, it's till Charlotte. Yep.
Charlotte. Okay. Charlotte Fort White. Okay, so that's not that long. That's not long. I mean, it's a couple of races away, but it is several weeks away. Let's get to know Gaige Herrera a little bit. Okay, so some people thought you were like 20 years old, but you're a little older than that, right? How old are you?
Yeah, I'm 29 years old.
All
and
right.
I live in Indiana. I'm a pipe fitter, day to day. So, and then I do the bike stuff on the side as far as, my side business.
So, real gig. You're a professional pro stock motorcycle race winner for Vance and Hines, but you go to work and pipe fitter, real job.
Yep. Yeah. I still have, the normal 7 to 3. I mean, even when I flew home Monday morning, as soon as I got off the plane, I came home and then hurry up and went to work. So I still got the normal gig and just a normal person, but living the dream of NHRA pro stock motorcycle rider.
Right, exactly. Okay, like you get in that zone, right? And you stay in that zone because sometimes becoming like, excitable is not conducive to victory, right? But is it like, what's Gaige like when Gaige is just hanging out? Like, are you well, for instance, all right, let's do music. What kind of music do you listen to? You have a favorite band?
I listen to a little bit of everything. I would say more rock and roll, a little bit of hip hop. I would say my favorite artist is Eminem.
Okay.
So I'm more of a rap hip hop guy. But other than that, I'm kind of laid back. I spend a lot of time working in the shop. I work more than I do anything. I'm not so I'm really laid back. I want to say keep to myself, but I do a lot of stuff as far as working, drag racing related, motorcycle related. So if I'm not in the shop, I'm usually out on the road going to a different race, whether it's in Maryland, Florida, all over.
And what about this stuff? Hanging out with the fans, signing autographs for kids. You're thrust into that now. It's a different kind of universe when you ride for Vance and Hines.
Yeah, I mean, being there signing and meeting the kids. I mean, that's the best part I think about drag racing, especially the NHRA. All the fans, especially the kids. I mean, because I was that kid at not too long ago. So I mean, to be able to be on the other side of it and see those kids smile and interact with them and get to know them a little bit as much as I can. It's that's probably the best part of the whole deal.
Goals for the year. Okay. Like, be number one, win the first race immediately. You're on a Vance and Hines bike. So championship is not out of the conversation. They say you gotta go through it one time first though, experience the heartbreak and learn how to win. But you didn't have to learn how to win on this bike. You went out and you won. So of course, Matt is going to be very tough. Chase looked like he's going to be very good. Angie knows she's got her best shot ever to win a championship. Joey Gladstone. There's a bunch of bikes that are quick, that are fast, that are going to be fighting you to the end, but you've got a great opportunity. So it's a long way away. Someone will get mad at me for talking championship right now, but I'm sorry. It's on the radar, right? Like you should be preparing for that fight right now.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, everyone in the whole class is very competitive, very, you can't take any of them lightly. So I would say my biggest goal for the rest of the season is just to be consistent, to not let anything, I would say, don't take anything for advantage. I am on the best team out there. So, but at the same time, anything can happen. It's drag racing, So my biggest goal is to go out there and repeat and do my job and just try to be consistent on the motorcycle and just let the cards play out how they're going to play. Because, anything can happen. It could go, you never know. So, I mean, my biggest goal is to get as many round wins as I can and, go for the championship. I mean, that's everyone's goal. So for me to I would say my biggest goal is to finish at least in the top 3 this year.
There you go. I like it. Like if you lose to Eddie, he'll be okay with it, I think. Yeah. Eddie got to get a win this year, and he's working on it. Anything you want to say to the audience out there, Gaige? We got a decent audience here, and I'll tell you about the WFO universe. These are the most diehard of the people, right? They found WFO. They log on each week. These are the most diehard fans. They go to 4, 5, 6, 10 races. So you're going to see them. You're going to hear from them. What do you want to say to your fans, the people who don't know you are like, man, this kid, man, bracket racer, dad, pro mod, gassers, all that stuff. Have at it.
I would say the biggest thing I want to say is if you got a dream, to chase it. I worked and to work very hard at getting there. I never expected to be here in the shoes that I'm in. So, I mean, I would say that's the biggest thing, is even if there's something that seems way out of reach, to always shoot for it.
I love it. I love it. Look at that. He's using his opportunity. He didn't say go to the Vance and Hines trailer and buy my shirt. He said, go, chase your dreams, folks. Gaige, thank you very much for coming on WFO, making the time. Hey, everybody, you probably have noticed this is a pre-record. I should have told you at the very beginning, but Gaige made time for me because I'm getting ready to go to Phoenix and everybody is just, WFO right now as the season is starting. But thank you for making the time, Gaige. I know we'll go live. Everyone will probably say what's up and they love you and they appreciate you. And you're new first base.
I really appreciate the time.
No, definitely. And thank you again. And I have a feeling you're going to be back. So we'll see you down the road. And if not, I'll see you out in Charlotte.
Sounds good. See you soon.
There he goes. Gaige Herrera with us here on WFO Radio. First time winner view. Vance and Hines wins the Gatornationals on the bike from the #1 spot. Amazing. Just amazing. And I love, we didn't have him on last year, but I kind of love getting to know him in this moment, right? We get to learn all about him and find out he likes Eminem. I think Jason Logan will be excited to know that. Gets to play Eminem a little bit more out there at the track. It is going to be great stuff. Thank you, Gaige. Appreciate you. And share the show, guys. If you want to see Gaige get out there, share the show, all you fans of Vance and Hines. All right, I want to tell you about the people who make it possible for me to go WFO. I just want to take another second. Look at this bike, man. That thing is sick. That is a good-looking machine. Way to go, guys. It's Suzuki. The V-twins are always cool with the EBR. Rat's got one of them now. But, that is a good-looking machine. And we'll see exactly what goes down. Let me tell you about the people who make it possible. Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School, Dragster Adventure, frankhawley.com. What's the Dragster Adventure, Joe? You guys should know by now, but it's okay. They bring a bunch of dragsters to the racetrack. They travel around the country. You sign up. They come to you for the most part. And then you spend the day running dragsters. You make 1 half-track pass, 2 full-track passes. They can even set up a race. So imagine you got a sales team or a group of mechanics in a mechanics shop. You want to reward them for doing a great job and not losing the tools. You go to Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School and you do the Dragster Adventure Challenge. Of course, it started around $400, $399, $400. But you can get the experience. And the best part is you need nothing. You show up and they provide everything. That's the best part. The Dragster Adventure. Go to frankhawley.com to find out more. Rodax Coffee. Listen, it's great coffee. It's as simple as that. Great coffee, roasted fresh per your order. You can make it full bean. He can grind it for you. I get full bean. Ask for the WFO radio blend. Ask for Bang the Blower. Ask for all the different blends that he makes that are drag racing themed. Or maybe you want the Dr. Congo. Maybe you want, who knows what you want. Talk to Marvin about it, though. And yes, you got to call him. Like I had a friend say, why can't I order online? And the answer is Marvin is already flat out. He's WFO roasting this coffee. And part of the experience is Marvin kind of gets a coffee profile for you. Plus the hot sauces and the spice rubs and everything's good. 817-924-6821. 817-924-6821. You can find out any WFO sponsor information on our website, WFOradio.com. Call Marvin, Rodax Coffee and Grills.com. And then there's samtech.edu, the School of Automotive Machinists and Technology. This is a different deal, right? You learn how to become a machinist. It's a larger commitment than a bag of coffee. But for you, young people out there who want to be involved in a successful industry, motorsports, aerospace, all this infrastructure work that's going to be coming in our country that they're working on now, building bridges and ports and all this stuff. They're spending a ton of money. And I'm watching the news, and the thing that they're worried about is who's going to do the work. Who's going to do the work? Who's going to be the ones actually doing this? Like, we're spending the money. They're making, they're pushing situations where, like, the parts and the pieces have to be made in America as well. But we don't have some of the factories to make it because it's we're trying to bring it back. But you don't just bring it back overnight. Who's going to be the people that program the CNC machines? Who are going to be the people that run the machines, that build whatever it is for a bridge, for a road, for a highway, for an airport, for a port? Samtech.edu. Yes, it's racing, but learning to become a qualified machinist, you can punch your ticket. And I really think it's important that people out there know that, a lot of people say you don't have to go to college, but I don't want to diminish college either. But if you want to use your hands and your mind and do and build and make and wake up and work hard, there is no shame in that. There's no shame in that. It's amazing. And everybody that I know that's doing it is loving it. Every single day. You watch TV, people might, you might get the wrong impression. I got some recent stories. I'm not going to share them right now. Listen to the Ignition Show. Maybe one day I'll tell you that. But hard work, learning a trade, samtech.edu. They're doing a great job. And that's what Judd, he started the show. He's like, we don't have a qualified machinist. Let's educate some. And that's how they got it. That's how they built the school. Amazing stuff. So thanks to our sponsors. Remember, WFO merch, it's available in the mobile application, our free app. WFO merch, it goes on sale all the time. You can pick some up. Project Pontiac. Everybody, don't worry. I was overwhelmed by the response for Project Pontiac. Once I revealed that the block was broken and that I needed a block and what was going on, I had a ton of people reach out to me offering to find one, to look for one, to all of these things. We are working on it. And we've got a plan. We've got the formation of a plan. Going to try to run Super Street. I did have a moment of weakness today, though, and think maybe I should just sell it all. Or just put it back on the street with like a street engine and be a pro street guy with just a car with fat tires driving around. I thought about that as well. It's tough stuff, man. Tough stuff. But I shook it off. And we'll forge ahead. And just like that, a WFO show is over. Alan Reinhart joined us earlier on in the week. Recapped the entire Gatornationals. The Ignition Show was a lot of fun. We had Race Guitar come on there and just start attacking. It was great. He doesn't like jet cars. He doesn't like wheel standers. He doesn't like Too Fast, Too Tasty. He doesn't like Pep Boys All-Star Call-Out. He doesn't like call-outs. We attacked and we fought back. It was a lot of fun. You'll like that show if you go check it out. Definitely. Next week, Matt Hagan. We're working on Mike Salinas, Troy Coughlin Jr. And I just want to say something, guys. Pre-record shows are part of WFO. Think of the podcast listeners. They always get pre-record. Sometimes it's just convenient for me to do a pre-record, like with Gaige today. And maybe you can tell me, Joe at WFOradio.com or on Twitter, do you want me to tell you like at the very beginning so you're not on there going, why aren't they answering me? Do you not care? Do you want me to not say it? Do you want me to tell you at the end? And the last thing I would want is for people to be like, oh, this isn't live. I'm going to, it doesn't really matter whether it's live or Memorex. There's an old reference. I've been noticing all my old references. Gotta update. I was out at Bernie's Speed Shop, saw a guy wearing the Miami Hollywood Speedway t-shirt. Those are going like gangbusters. Gaige mentioned Z-Max. Going to be up there, see my buddy Eddie right there. It's going to be a lot of fun. Going to have a good time. Gatornationals were amazing. Hey, we got a new Hear It From Hiner episode up there on our Patreon page, patreon.com, if you want to support the show at another level, like behind the scenes. VIP listeners, and get to hear the Pro Stock Show. Hear It From Hiner. He broke down every run. He broke down his methodology for the Gatornationals. They went to round 2. Felt like it was really great. Thanks to Gaige. That kid is going to be awesome. He's going to be back. Thanks, everybody. WFO. Have a great weekend.